What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we will be installing a traction bar on the Honda Civic. We're doing this because I've got a half-size radiator for the turbo build. The turbo won't clear as easily, the stock radiator, and the stock radiator is nice and crusty, so definitely needed to be replaced as well. I think I had mentioned that in the first video. So give me a second and I will show you guys the traction bar. Alright guys, this is the traction bar that I have got. It's a K-tuned traction bar. If anyone's interested or wondering, this is the part number. I'll link this in the description. Let me strap on the GoPro so I can go full hands-on for you, and we'll dive right into this. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you all my recording setup. We're gonna try this out. Gotta have the light and got the GoPro on the head mount, so we'll see how it goes. Alrighty guys, so we've got the K-tuned traction bar here. We will dive right into it. Alright, so this is gonna be the hardware portion of it, and the rods. Oh yeah, that's quality for sure. Take a look at the hardware. Uh-oh, lost one there. Oh, got it upside down. Y'all be careful. I'm gonna lay out all this hardware so we can see what we got, what we're working with, and go from there. All right. And here's the bar itself, upside down. There we go. Oh yeah, these welds are quality for sure. I'm not sure how well this is picking up on the camera, but this definitely feels solid and quality for sure. Alright guys, I just wanted to get you a close-up of everything that's included, all laid out, the brackets, all that stuff. And then this is the hardware as well. I also got the radiator brackets. There's your part number for it right there. Anyways, like I was saying, first step into doing this traction bar removal is going to be to take the wheels off. Guys, one thing, if you're running cheap wheels and the hub size does not match the hub size of the car, it's very important to run these spacers. They make up for the gap of the hub in there, so super important so the wheel stays true on the hub. All right, let's take a look and see what we got going on here. So this is gonna be your traction bar right here, and right here is the ugly stock one, which is going to be replaced with this nice K-tuned one. So a little bit of weight reduction in that as well. I don't know if you can see or not, but we've got a bolt here, a bolt on this back side as well. So we need to get those off. It's looking like the CV axle's in the way. Let's see what we got to take off first and get right to it. So we're going to start off by getting this lower fork off. So we've got one bolt here, 14 millimeter. And then here on the control arm, we've got a 217 millimeters. Now we gotta try and get this off. Oh wow, came off a lot easier than I thought it would. All right, so now that we've got this lower fork out of the way, you can really see the two bolts right here. I'm gonna try and get this up and see if the axle hits. If it does, we'll get that figured out. All right, so these are both gonna be 17s. That's tight on there. We just lost torque with this swivel adapter. There we go. All right guys, I don't know what I'm thinking. We gotta get this nut off of here first before we fully come out with that bolt. Now we can release the bolt. Just enough room. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing, but on this side. So let's go ahead and get this fork bolt removed. Since we're right here, I'll go ahead and take care of this one bolt. These Icon wrenches, I like them a lot. All right, that takes care of those bars. All right, so we've got this transmission mount right here. Obviously, your radiator fan and your radiator will be right here. I've already removed it before I started making these videos. So just know you'll probably have to move some stuff out of your way to get to it. In this K-tuned traction bar, it will be deleted altogether. It's highly recommended to get better engine mounts since we are deleting one of the mount from this cross member, which I will be installing in a later video. So let's go ahead and get started on disconnecting this mount right here so we can drop our crossbar. To be honest with y'all, I'm not sure with the bracket being removed if the engine and transmission will drop. I am putting a jack under the transmission. If the engine and transmission move at all, I can slowly let it to rest. All right, so we're on the bottom side. Here's one of the bolts, and there's another bolt on the top side that we need to take out. So we'll go ahead and get this bottom one loose first. It is a 14. All right, so we've got this lower one out. We'll go ahead up top and get that top one out. All right, we've got that top one out. All right, so now that we've got the transmission bracket loose, we'll come down here to the rest of these bolts and zip those out. All right, and there she is. Coffee break time. Oh yeah. Are you gonna help me work or not? And what about you? Are you gonna help me work? All right, we'll go down here and take these tow hooks off. I think the back side of this nutsert is slipping. All right, give me a second, guys. I'll get these out in just a second. All right, guys, so we've got a little bit of an issue. As you can see, there's one of the nuts. It's supposed to be welded on the backside so it stays there, but these two have fallen out. As far as I know, there's no access. I'm going to, I guess, remove the front bumper, see if I can take this piece off and get access to inside of there. If not, I'm going to have to cut a hole right here to get access to that back side of the nut. Not sure if this is a common issue, but I definitely have it. All right, so I got it off. Instead of using my electric ratchet on the other side, I did it by hand. Absolutely do not use impacts or electric tools. Hand tools only, or it will shock that nut off. Don't make the mistake that I did, because now the bumper has to come off and I have to cut a hole to get inside of here, and then I'm gonna have to weld it back after I've got the nuts and bolts tightened up with this new traction bar. All right, so at this point we will be taking the bumper off. All right, so we're gonna start with taking these screws off. Looks like this trim piece has to come off. We've got some of these bolts to take off right here. Yeah, these are not wanting to come off at all. All right, guys, I don't know why I didn't think about this before, but I found that grabbing it will get it out. Learn something new every day, I guess. All right, guys, so this is more like it. I've gotten all of them loose. Well, I say that. All right, so I've gotten all of the screws out, and let's see where else we're attached. Let's go ahead and disconnect this turn signal bulb. Let's take care of this other screw. And let's get this bulb out. All right, so let's get this bolt out right here. Well, that was scary. Woo! Let's get this bumper off. Ta-da! All right, so let's get this washer fluid tank drained. Oh, we got a shooter. Gonna need to come off as well. Uh-oh. There we go. Now, we have a pretty good shot at this metal right here for the grinder. You know, guys, just for giggles, I'm gonna take this crash bar off just to see and make sure that I don't have to cut a hole. It's pretty crazy that those two tiny little bolts hold up this big, heavy piece. Let's get this horn moved out of the way. Meep, meep. I can see inside. It looks to be walled off, but let's just take this off anyways real quick just to see. Let's take this headlight off. It'll make it a lot easier. There we go. All right, back to Beowulf. Yeah, I can really only see a little bit in there. See? There's my nut right there. That's what I need. So, you know, I might make a small cut right here and just try it and do it that way. Hey man, we're doing custom builds right here, dude. This is custom. Y'all better redneckinize. And there's number 2. It's gonna be really hard for y'all to see. Hopefully you can, but straight down here is where these nuts need to stay. As you can see, it snapped right off. So absolutely take these off by hand. All right, next up, we're finally able to start installing this after the that we had before. But before we do that, I would like to read a passage out of the Bible from y'all. It's Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Guys, don't try and do this on your own. Trust in the Lord, and he will make it so much easier for you. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. All right, so let's go ahead and get this bad boy up there. Or should I say down there? I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. All right, let's get under here. And let's go ahead, get a couple bolts started. Now, for pretty much all of this process, we just want to hand tighten it. If you tighten it down now, it's going to be really hard to get other bolts in. And once everything's in all at once, then we'll come down and tighten everything. So at this point in time, hand tight. This is probably gonna be a pretty tricky angle to get. I've only got one nut on this side, and I'll have to do some magic to get the other ones in. All right, so we got this thing chilling right here. I'm going to go ahead and try and get these inside of here, or with a bolt going through it. This will be fun. I don't know how I'm gonna get the camera to line up to where you guys can see what I'm seeing, so I might just fast forward through this process. But these nuts are going here, so the bolts can go here and here. All right guys, so here's the plan. I'll take this here tape, put it on this, and then shove it through. See how it's holding it like that? So that way, when I stick it down in here, it'll hold for me. Just a little trick. Maybe it'll help one of y'all out one day. So let's give this a shot. Also, another little trick is going with a magnet. All right, so we've got the nuts back on the back side. Let's get those a little bit tighter. All right, so we're still hand tight, but they're snug down a little bit better. All right, on to the next step. All right, guys, so now we'll start assembling the arms or rods, whatever you want to call it. But basically, some are reverse thread and some are regular thread as well. There's a left or right and a left or right. When you put them in, don't force it. I'm gonna figure out what goes where, and we'll get back to the video here in just a second. All right, guys, so I've got them in here. All right, now we can go ahead and take our assembled rod and go ahead and put it together.
onto the bar, throw our bolt through there, take our lock nut, go ahead and thread that on, and then we'll repeat for the other side. Alright guys, so in order to get the bracket on, this CV axle's in the way. So I think what we're gonna do is drop it here and drop the sway bar as well. Come on out of there. Don't be shy. Okay, yeah, we gotta take the sway bar loose. Wham blam. Ooh, that's hot. Yeah, like I said, pretty much all this needs replacing. So, like I was saying, to get this on here like it's supposed to go, we needed to drop that, and that seemed to be the best way to do it. I can't remember if I explained this correctly. We've got the plate. Per the instructions, the longer bolt goes in the back. Put your lock washer on there. Slightly shorter one goes in the front. And then we've got our spacer in the rear. One of the spacers goes here on the top, and then one goes on the bottom, and that's how it goes. Alright, now that we've got this installed, we will go back into place. Alright, let's take this front link off just to make our lives a little bit easier. I think it'll be easier to take the other tie rod links loose on the other side as well, so we'll do that real quick. Put our bolt back in. Alright, so it's important not to tighten your lower control arm bushing down, because basically if you were to tighten the bushing like this, and here's this part of it, it's tight where it is right now. When the suspension settles, it's going to constantly be twisted, if that makes sense. Let's go ahead and put our bolts in for that. This is why it's always good not tighten everything all the way, because you never know. So we've got one on. All right, so let's do this side, and then we need to get this one back off. All right, and we've already off. So let's get this guy out of here. Come on, come on. Come on, little guy. You can do it. All right, so let's get our bracket. Put our lock nut on the bigger one. Take it, goes like this. Bigger one on the back side per the instructions. All right, so we'll take the other bolt with the lock washer, put it down. Take our flat washer, goes next. Take a rod, one more flat washer, and there you go. All right, so now that we've got this installed, let's tighten her down, put it back in place. All right, up you go. All right, now let's get the sway bar links back where they're supposed to go. All right. And let's tighten it back up. We'll put our link back on at this time. Let's get this sway bar link back together. All right, got that sway bar link back on there. Now it's time to tighten everything up. All right, so let's get this tightened up. Let's get this one tightened down. All right, let's get these tightened down. All right guys, so we're gonna go ahead and put the lower forks on. And we'll go ahead and throw this bolt in here. So let's go ahead, screw this one in. We'll get our nut. And this bottom fork bolt will need to be fully tightened at ride height. And then we'll shoot this one on. Got all this taken care of. Let's go to the other side. All right, we're back here at the other side. Let's go ahead and get this thrown on. Get the lower bolt. All right. Like I said, on the other side, this lower fork bolt will be tightened at ride height. All right, now that we've gotten all the suspension components taken care of, let's go ahead and start getting this bumper back on. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the crash bar mount. All right, we've got those on. Let's go to the other side. The other side's on. Let's get our horn. Let's get our washer tank put back up. All right, let's get these in here. Let's get this horn plugged back in. Let's get this back on here. And then the reason why this one came off so easy is because it broke, but it looks like it's gonna stay on there. Should be good, we'll find out. All right, so let's go ahead and get this crash bar back on. All right, we got the crash bar back on. Let's get the foam piece back on. Let's get these screws put back in. Let's get this headlight back in. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna leave the bumper how it is. I'm not gonna put the same screws in that were in there before. I'm gonna go to the hardware store and get some actual bolts and some washers. But other than that, this completes the build. All right guys, that's gonna conclude the rest of this video. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That helps me out a lot. Also, if you like the video, like it and give me a comment if you wanna say something. Other than that, I'm gonna be doing more videos in the future, so just stay tuned. I'm a normal guy. I work every day, Monday through Friday, so I really only have time to be doing these projects on my free time, which isn't very much, but I'm trying to get this stuff out as quickly as possible for you guys. I almost forgot. Thank you and have a great day.